Hi, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to talk about U.S. immigration. Excuse me. Take your questions live. We do this every Tuesday at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. I'm sorry, 4 p.m. Pacific, where we take your questions live on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on LinkedIn. Not doing Facebook because Facebook's doing some weird stuff, and TikTok. I'm sorry, X or formerly Twitter. They got some sort of accounts you got to make. I don't know what's going on, so I don't bother doing it. But we're here. We come in, answer your questions. We do some pop-ups too. So if you subscribe to us, particularly on TikTok, you'll see us kind of popping up more often. Questions, but general immigration questions only, not intended for legal guidance. We take your questions and try to answer generally what's going on, kind of things I could talk about generally. Particularly marriage green card cases, dealing with the embassy adjustment of status, what we do regularly. If you're interested in learning about the marriage immigration process or fiancé visas, we have a 70-plus page guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You can download that guide free. Just put your name and email in there, and it'll be emailed to you. And that'll really help you understand the process before you even talk with an immigration attorney, because I know this stuff's confusing. And when you go to the consultation with an immigration attorney, you want to have good questions to ask. You don't want to talk about the basics, we can just find everywhere on YouTube. But just go to book, flip through it, see what works for you, and have a good conversation so you can figure it out. So all the information here is not intended as individual legal guidance. It's just general information. If you ask about timelines, which I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions about that, I don't have good answers for you. So I might either skip your question or just give you a generic answer, because I don't know what's going to be. But Far West, my husband came to U.S. and ran away. He basically did marriage fraud. Can I tell you how to report him? We don't focus on that. I guess you could contact USCIS or send a letter about it, but it's up to their discretion how they want to take that case or how they want to deal with it. That's as much as you can do. But I don't do this kind of stuff to report people, so I can't tell you do this, do that. It's not something I handle. We help people get green cards, not to take them away. So it's a general policy we have. But that's sorry you have to deal with that. It's a very frustrating situation to go through, to spend all that time and money and all that kind of stuff just for it to end like that. Weird thing, it's a sad situation, but I hope everything is better for you. All right, so a big news that did happen is for people who were here permission. There's a new program to make it as if you enter lawfully, and that's going to solve the problem of adjusting status, applying for a green card within the U.S. without even doing a waiver or having to go to the embassy. It's a program called Parole in Place for the Biden-Harris administration, I would say, created for keeping families together. That's the title that they have. And so it started about a week ago, and within about a week later, yesterday, there was a court case that put a pause on it for 2 weeks. So they'll accept the cases. They can't work on it. We'll have to see what the judges say, which direction this thing goes or doesn't know. We filed a lot of these cases. It works out for them, but that's like the big news that happened. Ask, hi, John. With an IR1 visa as a spouse of U.S. citizen visa, I entered the U.S. from Canada, received an entry stamp as evidence of my permanent resident status. Can I travel to Iran and then return to the U.S. without having my physical green card yet? Yes, it's very important. The Iran part doesn't matter here. What's important is that when you get an immigrant visa, that's a green card stamp in your passport after an interview, and you enter the United States, the Customs and Border Protection will stamp that visa, and it will act as a green card for 1 year. And so that'll hold you over. Now, Rosie, make sure you paid the government filing fee, like $225 or something like that. You pay by credit card to that website. Make sure you did that to get the green card printed and everything like that. But yeah, that works. So for a year after your initial entry, you could use that to travel to the United States and take care. So congrats on getting the green card. It's a real pain to have to get it in the first place. I know you had to jump through a lot of hoops, especially if you have an Iranian background, but it's moved forward. Armina says, I came on a C1D, a person who works on a ship or something like that, crew member visa. Can I file a VAWA if I'm in an abusive relationship? So you can adjust status typically on most C1D type cases. VAWA, the Violence Against Women's Act cases, have certain exceptions. I don't know if fix, but I would need to do more research to be able to answer that. So we'd have to have a consultation to get into your case. Just a C1D with VAWA is not a typical scenario you run into. So I don't know off the top of my head if that fixes it, but probably does. But I can't say that for sure without studying the law and getting back to you. So that requires like a full consultation. Laxuri says, hi to you too. So he says, like, not SSN, what to do now? Well, you've got your work permit, contact the Social Security office, get Social Security number. That's that. Laxur says, I can join the Army without green card. Probably not. They had some programs that did allow you, but they shut those down. I'm not sure what the current situation is about joining the Green Army, U.S. military in general without status. I'm not sure what the current thing is. There's a lot of back and forth on that. SIJ, we don't do SIJ cases, so I don't really want to comment on that. And the thing about TikTok is annoying is it makes there's a button I press and all of a sudden it makes me look darker and then I can't bring it back. Well. How long does a marriage-based green card case take? I don't know. It takes a long time. Yup says, what do you think are the chances of DHS wins this case if PIP starts again? I think it's pretty high, but who knows? I could be completely wrong. But the government has the authority to make this kind of parole program. They always did, and they've done it for many years. So I don't think they could take it away, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Mamu says, my asylum case is dismissed. The company is willing to sponsor me for EB3 on skill. Can they do it? They do it, but the more question is, can you get a green card? It depends. Probably not, frankly. Most likely won't be successful, but I've seen exceptions to it. So first, I need to review your background first to see what's going on with your case. But secondly, it's going to come to luck of which USCIS officer you get. Let's see. X says, if you send a parole in place application, they get rid of the program, can they give the application to ICE? Maybe the government has it. They have it. So that's a possibility. Jane says, how long does it take for marriage-based green card? It depends on what kind of marriage-based green card it is, what country you're from, all these different factors. Could be as fast as 3 months for adjustment of status cases. Could be years and years for a green card holder filing for a Iranian spouse. So really, there's too many pieces of information we need to know. And even then, it's up to the government what they want to do. New president comes, they change stuff. So it's all of it. Yelpo says, what do you think? Oh, you answer that question. King says, what's the Assembly Bill number 1840? I don't keep track of every bill that's happening. Milo says, I got to work permit less than 1 month for marriage case. Is that a good sign? No, it's not any sign at all. Just you apply for work permit, they give you that to hold you over, and then you just got to wait. But it doesn't mean anything particular. Smear says, if you see children in the neighborhood, take them inside your house. Oh, okay, that's a weird one. Sally says, how long does it send when I apply in office? It's a security office. I don't do that. Marlon, King TV, one of regulars. Good to see you. Says, I've been a green card. I've been up a green card for 3.5 years. I filed my I-751 almost 2 years. Keep telling me case active. Can I file for citizenship? I don't know your case in individual. Usually a year after filing the I-751, you file for citizenship. So that's something you should have probably done sooner. Review your case, Marlon. But that's a good possibility. It's possible, but we got to go into it. Rojin says, thank you, John, during the process of getting my green card. You're welcome, Rojin. God bless you. I'm so glad it worked out. If you had a 5-star review, go to Google, type in JQK Law. Just put 5 stars. You don't have to write 8 stars. That always helps out. Everyone else who's we get these regularly, people who are able to communicate with us like this and get help. Please support well. But Rojin, thank you so much. I'm glad you reached the end of the road. Angel says, do me and my wife for the green card review? Very few offices do that regularly. Like Boston, I've heard does it all the time, but most of the time they won't unless there's some issue with your case or the officer just has a policy of doing that. But most of the time, no. Most of the time, they're not even doing it now. Alex says, I'm 22. I've been here since 2007. I have a 2-year daughter. My papers never got DACA either. I don't know. You got to have some sort of media relative. Maybe you marry a U.S. citizen, for example. You have a U visa claim for being victim of a serious crime. You got to find some sort of exception. I can't tell you that here. And maybe nothing's possible, unfortunately. Clara said, hey, John, my mom's RFE was received 110 days ago. When is the maximum time we file March 1st? There's no maximum time. I've seen this stuff take years. It's probably not going to take years. There's no maximum time. Milo said, okay, we got a lot of repeat questions as usual on TikTok. Shaw says, can I apply for citizenship after 4 years and 7 months of having a green card? No. It's 90 days before 5 years at a minimum, unless you've been married to U.S. a little bit faster. And Shab earns the award for the first of the day for asking the same question 8 times. So you guys ask the same question, I'll repeat a bunch of times. I end up muting you because it's not fair and it makes it hard to keep track of what's going on. How long is I-130 taking to take to be approved? I-130 you have and all that. Paolo says, advanced parole on visa. I don't know. I don't really handle U visas. I-589, that's the asylum case. You have to write a letter to USCIS, especially the asylum office. You had to withdraw it. But you got to be careful. You don't want to, not necessary. There's timing issues on that too. Armed robbery eligible for U visa? Probably. If you're the victim of it, obviously. Alex, a question. If you unfortunately, I have to mute you if I get your question again. Kingdom says 1840 is an assembly law might pass that supposed to gives 108,000. Okay, these bills come and go. It's a crazy idea, but California is crazy, so nothing we do about it. Our stuff is about actual getting green card stuff like that. These kind of bills and stuff I don't really talk about. How long will the USIs decide to accept or deny my RFE? There's no time limits. So, Alex, unfortunately, I'm going to have to mute you right now. But schedule a consultation. It's just hard to keep track of what's going on. You ask the same question over time, so I have to mute you. A lot of more repeat questions. So please don't do that. Let's go to Instagram. It says, can undocumented illegal fly without worry? People literally no papers. I can't say with no worry because I never know what the government's going to do. But in the U.S., they don't ask for papers, but you have to have some sort of ID. Maya says, hello, John. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for helping people answering the questions, advising properly. You're welcome, Maya. I really appreciate it. Congrats on your success. If you had the time, it would be great if you could leave a review for us, 5 stars. Just type in JQK Law on Google. Just put 5 stars. You don't have to write anything, but it helps the business a lot to get more people to know us and what we do here. But I'm so glad everything worked out for you, Maya. God bless. Ramin says, hi, why is my green card, why my progress to the I-485 is stopping count? The countdown timelines they have on our USCIS account mean nothing, mean absolutely zero. So don't even look at it. And so these things are very frustrating, but it's just, they're worthless. It's the easiest way to put it. The government has no idea when your case is high. I am Nicholas says, if I'm on document in the U.S., can my daughter file for me when she's 21? Yes. The main thing is you have to have lawful entry. If you didn't have lawful entry, it's going to be a problem. And if you have lawful entry, no criminal history and stuff like that, your daughter, you meet the rest of the requirements. Oh, thank you, Maya. Then your daughter, we do it all the time where parents are enter the tourist visa, had a child, 21 years later, the child can file because they have lawful entry. As long as you don't have, you haven't deported or in absentia order, all the different stuff. There's all these things we have, but probably it's good. So AB, armed robbery is probably eligible U visa, but if you ask a question again, I'll mute you. Excellent. I already answered your question. I have to write a letter to USCIS asylum office in particular, but regular office as well. See where your receipt is. But if I get the question, you have to mute it. Yep. Well, do you think the injunction will go beyond the 14 days? It's not up to me. It's up to a judge. So I have no idea. Okay. So unfortunately, you have to mute some people. We answered your question. You got to pay attention. Makes it very difficult to do this job when you ask a question. So we have to do is mute people. Should I take my green card vaccine in the US or back home? Should I take vaccines? It depends on what kind of case you have and stuff like that, though. It doesn't make sense to go back home. If you're here doing adjustment of status, do them here. I'm not sure what and a particular weird, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying. Maybe I don't understand. Who knows? Big Deal says, what's the latest for Form I-129? Go to the I-129 page on uscis.gov, and there's a drop-down menu that says latest edition and explains it there. It says what it is there. They Call Me Money says, can I file for K-1 while my divorce isn't processed, since K-1 takes time as well? No, because when you file the K-1, you have to say I'm able to marry. And so you can't say that if your divorce is not finalized. So you got to get the divorce finalized. I'm saying on the top of my head. I haven't read the rules or statutes. I have to go just asterisk no, like that's what that makes sense, because you have to have this statement part of the K-1 fiance visa that says I'm able to marry. But yeah, I haven't. We always get divorced first, so they come to me. That would make sense that you need to get the divorce finalized first, because you're not able to get married, so you can't be engaged, or we can't do a fiance visa when it's not possible. Hector says, my interview was approved last Thursday after 4 years waiting. God bless. Thank you. Good news. Good news. Hopefully we are able to help a little bit. EB3 says EB3 visa is real in US. It's not unreal, but it depends on what you're doing. Mecha says, how long does it take for USCIS to respond to documents sent by mail? There's no time limit on them responding to anything. Derek says, our judges decline so many asylum cases. I don't know. It's up to them. Maybe the case, maybe they're bad judges. I don't know. Enough says, how can I get a work permit while I wait for my husband to file for? I don't know what your status is, what you're trying to do. I don't know what's going on to say. We need to have more information, consultation, to see what your background situation is first, before I could. It's like, are you in the U.S. or outside the U.S.? Is your husband? Are you out of status? In status? There's just a lot to know. So maybe there's nothing you could do, but we'll have to see. Oh man, it's so annoying that TikTok does this with the color. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to dark. Yeah, so I don't know. A lot of stuff I need details about you all, so I can't really say. All right. So yeah, the big news is, again, the parole in place program is technically on hold, where they want to adjudicate the case, but you can send the case in, pay the fee, and get the case in. You might still want to do that, but it depends on the case. You might have certain backgrounds where you don't identify yourself to the government. But if the rest is clear, for example, we have DACA, why not give it a try and put it in? But again, depends. You might have certain unique circumstances where it's just better not to file. But for most people, might as well just get it in and see what happens. Abdul Is there any prediction for EB3 visa bulletin? Nope. How long does EB3 take to someone to come to U.S.? Depends on what country you're from, but at least 2 to 3 years, if not 5, 6, 7 years or something like that. It varies pretty dramatically depending on which country you're from, how long the embassy, if your case is hit with an audit or not. All these things that change the time a lot. Mecha, answer that question, Mecha. There's no time limit for USCIS to respond to anything. Let's see. I'm not sure what's out in account. Usually we have a gazillion questions at this point. See, Yapo, do you think the injunction will go on beyond 14 days? I have no control or information about that. It's up to a federal immigration judge to be able to answer that question. Wow, this is so annoying. Okay. So, yeah, so injunction, again, for those who don't know, it's like a judge saying that you can't move the case forward for immigration in this context for whatever reason. There's a on it, and they could change that at any time if they want to. Adam says, if I have 3 weeks between my N400 interview and oath ceremony, will that be a problem during my oath? If I travel 3 weeks, no, it doesn't really make a difference. Just let them know. I mean, I don't know the back case if you have crazy stuff or where you're going and all that. So nothing I can say is guaranteed here. But people when in those just be back for the oath ceremony. But again, I don't know like where you're going, what you've done, all this kind of stuff. So I can't say 100% guarantee here. We're not as individual legal guidance. You know, a background, one thing you should, I mean, you're probably okay in your case because it seems like you're coming back. But when you do file for U.S. citizenship, this is if more careers co-host. No, I don't want to co-host. But do you think fail? Probably, but I don't really know. Like, it's not for me to say. Mr. Jerusalem says, I applied for I-130 in July 2023. I still haven't heard anything from U.S. now. Nothing. These cases could easily take more than 12 months. Chris, do you qualify if you have a missed DUI to the lowest period from 7 years ago? It depends on what you mean, what program you're qualifying for. Parole in place, they may deny it. It's up to their discretion. Can the Biden administration reinstate it? Out of reinstating, they got to fight it out in court and see what the judges say. Boryov, I moved to Puerto Rico, to Miami, Florida a year ago, but I never updated my address USCIS, so that's not good. Now I'm about to file for citizenship, 3 years marriage, U.S. citizen. The address you updated problem. Technically, they say it's like a crime and they fine this, that, but no one really cares. The main thing is that just make sure the government didn't try to contact you for some big reason, like trying to deport you or something. And probably didn't, but that's what we check the EOIR, the immigration court system with your alien number, make sure there's no court case. But unlikely that's a problem. So people, unless you have an immigration attorney who's on top, no one ever updates their address and this stuff on their own. So they don't really enforce it. It's just one of those many laws the U.S. has that are there that they don't enforce, except for you, then they'll randomly enforce a law that's not usually enforced. And it's part of collective enforcement, unfortunately, which is a hallmark of a totalitarian state. But we're not fully there yet, but we're getting there slowly but surely. All right. So any other questions about U.S. immigation law, let me know. We got about 10 more minutes of questions today. I think the social media gods are holding something against. We usually have hundreds of people blasting us questions, but today there's only like 50 or 60 people coming to the group. So I'm not sure why that is, but hey, that means more time to answer your questions if you have immigration questions. So just shoot it my way and we'll see what we can do. Sagar says, I applied to EAD a few days ago as a work permit and got mail saying we take action in case we couldn't see in the portal. The portal system is really terrible at updating, but if you got a receipt, you just got to wait and then to see what happens. And that's the thing. Don't really rely on the USCIS portal. Unfortunately, it is terrible. Wahid says, USCIS transferred all I-730s to international field office. Is that good or bad? It's no good or bad, just they did it. Mr. Jerusalem says, there's something I can do to expedite. My wife's in Jordan and war is brewing. Mr. Jerusalem, I don't remember what case you have to say if you expedite or not. You can always try to expedite stuff. I'm not sure what it is. Based on war brewing, that's not a reason they're going to be down with. Wahid asking the same question a million times. So unfortunately, Wahid or Dilaj, Dilaj, I'm going to have to pause you. How can I apply for work visa? I'm currently working as a caregiver. I don't know. I need more background. But if I see your question 2 or 3 more times, then we'll have to, both Wahid and Dilagaf, I'm going to have to get, fortunately, Wahid, it's not nice to keep reporting this stuff. So I'm going to mute you. It's a very powerful thing. Like I'm muting everybody. But no, so I prefer not to do that because it just can't see what's going on. So please don't force to mute people. Shiva says, will it most likely continue to be blocked? I went through the pro in place. There's no most likely. It's not. It's up to a judge. That's what the courts are for, to make a decision. If I could tell you what the likelihood of stuff is, I'd go to Vegas and gamble and make a lot of money. Judah says, good evening, sir. Good evening to you too. Bia says, Sherry says, hi, sir. You're great, hardworking, really impressed. Thank you, Sherry. God bless you. BJ says, my father, as a petitioner, is independent in my daughter tax filings. What documents should he submit for I-64 not filing tax return? I mean, if he doesn't make money, he's got to fill out I-64, but just leaves it blank, and you got to find a joint sponsor. That's pretty much it. Okay. Poor man says, my man, good to see it. Dave says, any parole for wife, a U.S. citizen that's in a 5-year ban in another country. You could get a non-immigrant visa waiver potentially, but the parole programs for people in the United States. If you're outside, you got to get some sort of waiver. The 5-year ban, this is expedited removal ban, is not good. How long does I-130 take to approve? Well, it depends on what kind of I-130 it is. If it's a marriage U.S. citizen, it's average 12, but it could be 3 months, it could be 24 months. It's all over the place. If it's a brother, sister of U.S. citizen, it could be 1 year, it could be 10 years. You got to be very specific in this. At the end of the day, it's up to USCIS. Who knows? W says, I-130 approved, but waiting for I-212 approval. Anything I do to expedite a case. Reason to expedite is valid. You could make a request to USCIS and they'll do it, but probably not. Poor man says, any law coming for U.S. citizen 21 over could apply. Parents are not here legally. If they didn't enter legally, not really, unless they have some sort of exception, get TPS and TPS parole, or they have a U visa case or something like that. Sherry says, sir, it's 12 months right today for my I-130 petition. When will it be approved? My wife's a U.S. citizen. I have no idea when it's going to be approved. Typically, it's 12 or 13 months, but it's up to USCIS, so there's no way to really know. It's whenever they get around to it. All right, let's see some more questions. All right, so we are 20 minutes into it. Let's see. Usually it's like bam, bam, bam questions. It's not a bit slow question there. We didn't get questions about timelines too much, which we just did with Sharia. It's okay, Sharia, but that's always good because I just can't answer these timeline questions. I guess the big news again is parole in place is technically on hold. The USCIS will accept cases. You got to decide whether it's worth it to send it in or not, both the cost and identification to the government. But most people in the scenario like in place for the Keeping Family Together Act, if people are married to U.S. citizens, they didn't enter lawfully, their marriage was before June or July 2024, they were have proof of being here 10 years. The document isn't too deep to prove it 10 years, just have a couple of documents every year. They get what's called parole in place, which is a legal fiction. It's a made-up thing that says you enter lawfully, and based on that, you file for citizenship based on marriage U.S. citizen if you satisfy other requirements of a marriage green card case. Finally says, court will reject if entered through border, have Mexican PR, we have Pakistan, have strong asylum case. I don't know. That's just, I don't know your case, and I don't do asylum law. Logical says, what if you're a green card holder of 56 years old but never signed up for selective service? Then it doesn't matter. After you're 30, 31, it doesn't matter if you didn't. I'm married to a U.S. citizen, but I work in my home country. I don't want to exceed my 6 months. That's going to be a problem. I mean, like, you got to get a reentry permit, but you got to start life over here. Listener says, what documents can you provide Visa Center when they're asking for tax document information? I mean, you got to provide your most recent tax return, W-2s, 1099s, the pay stubs, evidence you're a U.S. citizen or green card holder, evidence of domicile potentially, and that's part of the affidavit support portion. BJ says, how long will it take for an interview if you complete all process F2A visa normally? Well, your F2A petition has to become current, and your priority date is. And then secondly, it depends on what embassy you're from. Some embassies are really backed up, takes years to get an appointment. So, it could be as long as 7, 8 years even. That's pretty bad. What documents can you provide to the U.S. Visa Center? Okay, I already answered that question. Let's not. Dip says, how long does I-130 take to approve for U.S. citizen parents? To approve for U.S. citizen parents. For parents of a U.S. citizen or U.S. citizen parents filing for minor children. If it's a U.S. filing for parents, those are probably taking 12 months average. Could be much longer, could be much shorter. It's all over the place. That's just the I-130. Then you got to deal with the embassy portion, which is all over the place as well. That's the messed up thing about timelines. Just never know. All right. So if y'all are interested in the marriage green card process, fiance visas, marriage green cards, we have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's a 70+ page guide that really breaks down most of the process. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, down for free. Marriageimmigrationlaw.com, down for free. Gutierrez says, got an RFE, but I missed the date line. Can I send it with an explanation? You can, but I'm sorry to hear that. You probably get denied. Hopefully it's something you can refile. But typically, almost never will they reopen and are a late file RFE, but give it a shot. Maybe you get lucky and they'll feel bad for you. Elna says, what is the process of getting a green card by an employer? That's a whole thing. Listeners said they only ask for W-2 schedules, 1099. I keep sending it to them, but they ask again. I'd have to see for myself what's going on with this. And potentially they're making a mistake, but I don't know what to tell you. I don't know your case. The other says, how long can I-130 be approved on 12 is approved. How long can I-130 approved be on hold? It could be on hold indefinitely if you have a receipt that shows I-212 is approved. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but you can keep those alive. If you have a case and you're working with National Visa Center and stuff. Elna's prosecuting a green card through employer. Usually the employer files for you first, files they tell the government they want to hire a foreign person. How much does it cost to hire that foreign person? And then they do job ads to see no one can take that job. And they do the 40 process to show that they want you. And then eventually do adjustment of status or MC processing. But there's other versions of it too. If you work for a foreign company or transfer in the US, that's an option. There's stuff like that. Sherry is not about embassy getting faster in the future IR1 interviews. That's up to them. I don't know. That's not up to me. Morrow says, does PIP applicants get back their money at PS Hold forever? I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know how they're going to do it. Poor man says, U.S. child can apply if parents are in the USA but no status illegally enter the country. No, they can, but eventually parents have to leave the embassy to do an appointment, but they're going to be subject to a 10-year ban if they do that. So unless the parents have some sort of lawful entry, it is not going to happen. How long does the work authorization take after you filed? It could be, I don't know. It takes a long time. Sometimes it could be a month. It could be a year. Listener says, how can you look at my case? You got to email the office, jqqlaw.com/contact. It's not email. It's go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Submit a request there. We can schedule there's a consultation fee, but I'll give you information there. Keith says, I'm on H-2B and I filed. Can I do another H-2B extension after filing? Probably. I got to see what's going on there. Moose says, I don't do the H-2B. I have a colleague I can refer you to that does those, but I don't do H-2B. Moose says, hey, brother, how's it looking for legal immigration? It's looking up. Mercel says, do you have a video on YouTube for fiancé visa questions asked in the interview or suggest one? I don't, and I'm going to suggest, but essentially at a fiancé visa interview, they're going to ask about how you met, how you know the person. They may ask about the background of the person because, like, if you're engaged, you know what, like, your fiance knows what kind of work you do in the U.S., what you studied. So they're trying to see if they know these kind of questions. They'll ask about their backgrounds. They'll ask about finance potentially, just general. Usually it's not too deep. Dip says, do you have any idea? Is there any free lower service where you can get information personally? I don't keep track of this stuff. I just keep track of my business. I'll tell you. USA has told me to submit the evidence to expedite my I-212 via their website, but I don't see the option. You have to go to Ask Emma, but the explanation of how to expedite is on the website, so you can find it there. Merciless, thank you. You're welcome. Hey, brother, how's it look? Answer that. Eddie says, do you know what visa will be available under new guidelines? It's just the H-1B. They haven't published new guidelines, and that's probably going to be sued upon too. The administration, I think they just want to get votes. They really just put this on because they did it so haphazardly, as if they knew it's never going to happen. So they just kind of threw it out there to get some pandering votes. So pretty disgusting to ask me, the way they put it out there, the way they've done. They could have done this years ago and gave a runway instead of it right at the end. Like, it's just the way they do stuff is horrible. If you have questions, just I'm an LPR green card holder currently out of the U.S. with reentry permit. I applied for my I-130 for my spouse. When it comes time to adjust status, it's going to be constant processing. Your spouse is abroad. How do you show income to support? You got to follow. You got to make money. How many years of U.S. work do I need to come? Download my guide and marriageimmigrationlaw.com, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Download the guide there. But probably if you're not living here and stuff, first we got to establish domicile. That's going to be a problem. You could get away without it, but it depends on the embassy. But you're probably going to need a joint sponsor. That's inevitably what's going to probably end up happening. Moose says, is election affecting immigration? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, what I just talked about right now, they're doing these cockamamie schemes are pro in place. So there's, and then two are fighting back. So yeah, it affects the election. G Singh says, got a green card through VAWA, divorced, and remarried. When can I sponsor my new spouse? Typically, if you get your green card through marriage and you want to refile again, there's issues with filing too quick. There's a harder case. With VAWA, I think there's probably an exception, but I have to review it. We don't do too many VAWA cases, so it's not something that's fresh out of my mind. Got to schedule a consult. We got to look into it. Mercil says, good tip. If you're in the U.S., you can contact your congresswoman to help with immigration. Yeah, you can, but rarely do they do anything. It's very, very rarely are they able to do anything. NFL says, can you take your CBP1? I don't do CBP1 apps. I can't advise on that. Ma'am says, I schedule an appointment to your office. Otherwise, I schedule an appointment office. Otherwise, can I have your phone number? We only give our phone number, direct phone number out to existing clients. So no, but yeah, go through the website and schedule a consultation. We talk there. And if you get hired, then we get phone number and we give access and all that kind of stuff. Elna says, how long does perm application I-40 F-45 take years? It could take years, and especially what country affected. Like if you're Indian, it's going to take forever. but it takes many years, illness. Okay. Anxiety says my son was approved in April. Want to know when to apply for a green card? How long is it taking? I can't tell you how long it's taking, but probably wait like 7 to 8 months before you file. Merciful says I got my interview within 3 months when the website said 9 months. If that helps, it doesn't help. Every case is different. The website is worthless. That's why I always tell people don't even bother looking at the website. And the fact interview, I'm not sure why I even got an interview. So I'm not sure what's going on there that they did interview. Most of the time they don't do it, but that's that. Sorry, I'm lagging. He says apparently things not going well. BJ, what documents should joint sponsors submit with I-864? Taxes, I-1099s, W-2s, proof of domicile, proof of U.S. immigration status, citizenship, or green card, and they may need other stuff if they're more complex kind of cases. Amaral says, do you think if Visa Bolt in October would have drastic change for F2A? I don't know. I can't tell the future. So we just every time in the beginning of the month when it comes out, we just take a look and take it from there. Unfortunately, I don't have any secret information of how they're going to be moving that stuff forward. All right, actually, we hit the 30-minute mark. Thank you so much, everyone, joining. Maya had no interview. Yeah, that very rare the interviews right now. I've heard it's bubbling up. They're doing more interviews, but I haven't had an interview case for a marriage case in 4 years, essentially. But it may be a new thing they're starting up. Who knows? But thank you very much for joining. God bless you. Be safe. And we'll be back again next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific to take your general immigration questions. If you want to download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com is the place to go. Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, 70-plus pages, or schedule a consultation. Go to jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Hope you're all safe till next week. God bless.